Hey, welcome to Made for More. I'm so glad you're joining us. Every single month, we come up with new content to help leaders, and I love it. We just celebrated 1 year. Thousands of you guys have subscribed, liked our videos on YouTube, shared it with your friends. Thanks for letting me know. I asked last month for you guys to DM me, send me a message, let me know you're watching or listening, and we've heard such a cool response. So thanks for letting me do that and be a part of your leadership journey. I am with one of the great sought after leaders in America today, Dr. Dave Martin. We're glad you're here. He just got done speaking all morning long at Radiant Church, and Dr. Dave is an incredible Christian success, the number one Christian success coach in America, lead pastor of Motor City Church, a global speaker. You're all over, and you have a brand new book out. What is the title of it?
I do. The newest one is called Mindset Matters.
Mindset Matters.
Yeah,
what's the idea behind the book?
If you can change your thinking, you can change your life. So often we limit ourselves. Even the Bible tells us that. You know, as a person thinks, I never could see myself accomplishing that. I never could see myself building a church like that. Never could see myself building a business. And you won't, right?
Right.
As a person thinketh, so are they. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right.
You're right.
And so it's changing people's thinking. How do you see yourself? You know, there's different ways you can see yourself. How other people see you may be good, may not be good. Right. I learned a long time ago, what other people think about you is none of your business.
That is really good.
You know, Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
That's so true.
So you can go how other people see you. You can look at how you see you. Of course, we want to build a self-confidence. As a leader, you need self-confidence. But then again, you know, people say things, do things to you that affect your self-esteem. I can think back in my whole life. And one time in high school, a girl broke up with me. She said, I'm breaking up with you. You got low self-esteem. I was like, well, thanks. That helped.
Right.
You know, another time this girl called me. She said, hey, come over to my house. Nobody's home. I went over there. There was nobody home. It's damaging to your self-esteem. But the third way to see yourself is to see yourself the way God sees you.
I love that.
And a friend of mine wrote a book called Godfidence. You know, not really just a confidence, but a God, not just knowing who I am, but knowing whose I am makes all the difference in the world. So we talk a lot about that, about how we limit ourselves by our own thinking. You know, you'll never leave Egypt till you can see yourself in Canaan, right?
That's really good.
And so that's kind of
how can they get the book?
It's available on Amazon, davemartin.org. It's available there.
Great.
FreeDaveMartinBook.com.
FreeDaveMartinBook.com. I love that. Hey. And it's not your first book.
It's not, as I mentioned earlier, my mentor is John Maxwell.
Right.
And he sold a few leadership books along the way. 35 million, by the way. 35 million. That's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books.
I'm like, think if he just got $1 from each.
He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's my rich uncle.
Yeah.
I said, between him and I now, we have sold over 35 million books. But that's my seventh book.
That's awesome, Dave. Well, we're so honored to have you here, and we'll get into some ways that people can get in touch with you and follow you and hear what you're doing. I like to do a lightning round just before we get into our subject today to know a little bit about you. All right, any Netflix shows, something you've watched recently, you got to watch it?
I love Blacklist. I'm a Blacklist guy. Yeah.
It's good. I've started it. Haven't kept up with it. I need to do it. All right. A book other than the Bible. I got to recommend.
A book other than the
You're
Bible.
You're like, actually,
I have several. DaveMartin.org. No. A book other than the Bible. You know, it's an old book called Think and Grow Rich.
Really?
By Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
It's one of the classic self-help motivational books that is and it's full of scripture. It's pretty amazing.
I'll check it out. That's awesome. Okay. Favorite cereal? Are you a cereal guy?
Yeah. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Same.
Come on,
somebody.
Let's go.
I think out of everybody I've had on the podcast, you're the first to say Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and it's my favorite.
It's the best.
It is absolutely the best.
And I drink the milk afterwards.
Absolutely. You have to.
So
it's the best. Yeah. Why doesn't someone just make the milk like that?
There you go.
We'd all have diabetes. It'd be awesome. All right. Last question. If you could remove from the face of the planet a fast food restaurant, remove it so that you would do the planet a service by saying nobody could ever eat there again.
Oh, wow. Wendy's.
No. What's your reason?
Yeah, they just take so long.
Its service is really bad.
Yeah,
that's
probably the It definitely wouldn't be Chick-fil-A.
No, are you a Chick-fil-A guy?
Oh, I love Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we all are. You
And
have to
Taco
be.
Bell.
Taco Bell. Yeah, you gave Sir the message about Taco Bell. I was like, I don't know if anybody's ever admitted from our stage that they've eaten at Taco Bell. That's awesome. All right. So you invest in leaders all the time. You are someone that's so huge in making leaders get better. And one of your things is that leaders just need to keep growing. Why?
Yeah. Personal growth is your responsibility. If you want tomorrow to be different than today, you got to learn something today that will make tomorrow different. I think it's so important because the Bible tells us it is, right?
Right.
Proverbs 1 verse 5, a wise person will increase in learning. So he tells us, hey, if you want to get smart, get smarter than you are right now. Learn something different. I tell people all the time, if you're not doing as well as you'd like to be doing, whether it's leading a church, leading an organization, whether it's being a dad, there's just something you don't know.
Right.
And the difference between leaders is really what they know. And so I value leadership. I value information. I value books. Go to my house, 4,000 books. But it's our responsibility to find the time, right?
Right. Because every leader thinks they're so busy, they don't have enough time.
Right. And if you don't make the time is all you've got, right? People talk a lot about time management, and I don't really believe in time management. I believe in time investment. I believe time is something you invest, not something you manage, because all God gave you was time, right? Every country has a currency. America has the dollar. Mexico has the peso. Japan has the yen. England has the pound. Every country has a currency. Even heaven has a currency. Anything you need from God, anything you need from heaven, you receive by faith, right? So faith would be heaven's currency. Well, the earth has currency. Earth's currency is time.
Wow.
Anything you have today, you've traded your time for.
It's really
Anything
good.
you don't have, you've just been unwilling to trade your time for. I didn't have friends. God gave me time. I traded my time with someone and I built a friendship.
It's really good.
God didn't give me money. God gave me time. I traded my time with someone that gave me a paycheck. Rich people don't have more time than poor people. Poor people don't have less time. Everyone's got 24 hours in a day, right? So there's 24 boxcars on your train to success every day. What you put in each of those boxcars determines what you get at the end of the day, right? The average American, I think I read the other day, watches 6 hours of television, right?
That's
a
unreal.
day.
Unreal.
Right? I don't know what they're binge watching, what they're,
Right.
There's a lot of CSIs, Miami, New York, Las Vegas. But if you took just 1 hour a day, a mentor challenged me years ago, what if you took 1 hour a day to invest in yourself? Right? Maybe you need to get up an hour early.
Right.
Maybe you need to skip lunch. I probably need to do that. But, and you took that time to learn something new. Tomorrow, make it different than today. And so I really took on the responsibility of my personal growth and finding the time to read, to study, to listen to podcasts like Made for More that are going to help me grow as a leader, and making that investment, deciding this block of time is going to make a difference down here. And so I think that's so valuable that we understand time, of course, number one, and value that time. Like if I have a meeting, my meetings have a beginning time and an ending time, right? Most people don't, we'll meet at 4. Well, if I don't value my time, why would anybody else value my time?
It's really good. Really
you ever had someone go, hey, Pastor Aaron, I'm just wasting some time. Thought I'd come see what you're doing.
Right. That's
like, now you're wasting my time too.
Right.
All I've got is time. Right. So I've got to invest it in the right places.
So what do you think it is that is the common thread of people who stop growing? Like what keeps them from growing?
A lot of times when John Wooden says, what counts most is what you learn after you know it all.
That's a great phrase right there.
Most people begin to think they know it all, right? Oh, I've done that. Yeah, I've been there. Oh, yeah, I've already. And I think that's one of the biggest hindrances to growth, is getting to the place where you think you know it all. And there'll never be a day when you know it all. I walked in, my grandfather, he just passed away, but he was 93, 94 years old. He was reading a book. I said, what you reading, Grandpa? He looked, it was a self-help book. And I'm like, Grandpa, you're 93. Like, what else? What else are you going to do? He said, well, I'm not dead yet. You're either growing or you're dying, right?
Very good.
If you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. You don't just stay where you are.
Right.
And so I think a lot of times, we do use the excuse, well, I'm so busy, I got this and this.
Right.
But if you don't invest the time, you'll find yourself going backwards pretty quick.
All right. So someone that's listening to this just feels like, man, I'm stagnant. I've got myself in a rut. How do I get out of that?
Beginning to make the changes that you need to make. Of course, learning and growing, but adaptability is one of the most one of the most powerful traits of great achievers and great leaders. I wrote a book called The 12 Traits of the Greats. Mm-hmm. And in there, one of the chapters is on adaptability. You got to be willing to change. And
especially in this world today, things change so fast.
If you don't change now, you'll be a fossil before you know it, right?
Wow.
I mean, things are changing so quickly. The e-commerce since COVID,
right?
What would have took 5 or 6 years has now, happened in 15 months,
right?
And so with the church, I know you have a lot of church leaders, especially. About 50% of what I do is in the corporate arena, 50% in the church, and the church people are the slowest to change, right? Yet we have the Bible, the greatest success book ever written, but we don't know the principles. We talked about that,
right?
The difference between the person of Jesus and the principles.
I thought this was so brilliant. Explain the difference between people today.
The person of Jesus prepares you for heaven. The principles of Jesus prepare you for earth.
Wow.
And we like to shout, we like to run, we like to fall down,
right.
Old school.
Yeah.
People fall down broke, they get up broke, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's changing because they're not adapting the principles. All throughout the Word of God are principles for our life. And if we'll put the practice those principles, it'll make the difference. So the principle of change is all throughout the Bible.
Absolutely.
Right? Renewing your mind. It's a daily thing.
Right.
I know a lot of times in the Spirit-filled church, we thought it said be transformed by the removal of your mind. But it actually says the renewal of your mind. What does that mean? It means you got to change the way you think.
I love that.
And we get stuck because we don't change the way we think, because we don't exercise our mind muscles,
right?
To see something different.
It kind of worries me when we get to a place where I'm like, we've been doing this for a year or two now.
Yeah.
Something should have changed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it's still working if we've been doing it for the last couple of years.
Well, I'll walk in and tell the staff, okay, the lobby, church, change it all. Every 2 or 3 weeks, even if I can.
Right.
Because you got to keep people's mind muscle, got to keep that change muscle growing, adaptable.
And we get into a place. We'll get stuck. One of the things that I admire most about you, there's a lot of things, but one is you have the ability to get around some high capacity leaders and learn from them. I mean, talking about Maxwell and some of the great church leaders in the world today. You're talking to a bunch of young leaders and they're like, how do I get in those rooms? How do I act in those rooms? How do I get around some people to make you think big? Like, how did you develop that in your world?
Yeah. Honor was huge, but serving is how I open the door to most of the rooms. I love to serve. I love to serve, sow and serve. Those are my 2 things. And if I'll carry Maxwell's bags any day. Right. How can I serve? Just to get in the environment, just to get in the room.
Right.
How can I add value? Is like what he likes to say. The way I connected with Joel Osteen was helping him put together a breakfast and connecting people to him. And all of a sudden it opened up a door for a friendship and access and opportunity. But knowing how to honor those moments.
Yes.
And not capitalize is not the word, but to make the most of the moment. So many times I see people get in the presence of a great leader and not show honor or not know how to. I got a list of questions in my phone at any time.
Right.
I got people that I can't wait to meet. I just met a leader who I've been probably 20 something years trying to get someone to connect me with them. Finally, just within the past 6 months, for 10 years, I've had a list in my notes on my phone of questions. If I ever find this guy,
wow.
If I ever sit next to him on a plane, if someone ever actually connects me, I got questions I'm going to ask. I'm ready. And so I find that that's been the biggest opportunity. I call it following the path of favor. I wrote a book called The Force of Favor. And that's where I found in that was just recognizing. The law of recognition is one of the most powerful laws. Things are in our midst all the time. We just fail to recognize it.
Right.
And whatever you recognize, you'll respect. Whatever you don't respect will move away from you. Right.
Right.
No matter if it's a dog or if it's money. If you don't respect it, it's not going to hang around.
Right.
And so respecting, honoring where they've been has been probably the biggest key.
Right. Any advice on what not to do when you're around them?
What not to talk? Don't talk too much.
That's great wisdom.
Don't talk too much.
It's great.
I see people will get and just talk the whole time about all that they're doing.
Right.
We can talk about what I'm doing later. I need right now. I got a moment. I need to learn something.
I love
the
that.
difference between where you are and where you want to be is what you know. So obviously, and I don't try to learn everything from one person, but I try to learn something from everybody. I've learned
really
so
good.
much from you today. Just listen and talk. Hey, how'd you do? Tell me about this.
Right.
What don't I know? There's something I don't know that's hindering me from getting where I want to be.
Right.
And so I want to get in the presence. A mentor is, people say there's no shortcut to success. Well, that's not true. A mentor is your shortcut to success, right?
Wow.
They can't be your best friend. Your best friend likes you the way you are. Your mentor likes you too much to leave you the way you are, right? Your friends are your cheerleaders. Your mentor's your coach. And so you've got to have mentors in your life that will take you and that have open access. Hey, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me, we were talking about Maxwell. I was with him the other day, and I got done speaking. I came off after I spoke, and I said, tell me, that afternoon, I'm like, what do I need to do? What didn't I do? I mean, did I hold the mic wrong? What did I do? Just, you're one of the greatest communicators in the world.
Right.
I'm always wanting to learn. I could say, I'm on the same stage now. I can do, that'd be ridiculous for me to do that. And so I think that's where people get to the place where almost like a false pride or arrogance keeps them from learning. Well, my church is this, my church is,
right. Right. Having that teachable spirit and the fact that you've done so well with so many things that you're still getting off a stage going, how do I make this thing better? And we have 20-year-old leaders in the church that'll get off a stage and think, oh man, I nailed that. And I'm like, the fact that you're not asking the right question is a problem.
What did I ask you after every service?
Yeah. What can I do? Are you okay with it? What do I need to adjust?
More?
I mean, that shows a lot about your ability. Let's talk about anything else to maximize their growth. Like leaders are trying to be all that God's called them to be. What other wisdom would you give them to help maximize their growth?
Like I said, reading, podcasts, but getting around other people.
Yeah.
You got to have relationships. It's like, when you're playing sports, you always want to play with someone better than you. So you always want to get in the room with someone that's doing more than you. And don't just, if you're a preacher, don't just get around preachers.
Right.
Get around, I try to always be around people outside of my industry. Southwest Airlines, they're known for being the quickest to turn their planes around and get new. How do they learn that? They learned it from NASCAR, from pit crews. They didn't go, let's see what Delta's doing. Let's see what American's doing. They went outside of their comfort zone, outside of their industry and said, okay, how are they doing this? How do they change 4 tires, fill it up with gas, and put them back out there? And that's where they learn. I get to sit, Lee Cockrell ran Disney World. So about every, once a month, when I lived in Orlando, now I live in Detroit, but once a month we'd have breakfast together. I'm a big Disney fan.
Yes.
And so I would just sit and talk. We were talking one day about pin trading. Pin trading is the big thing. So I said, how did that start? It started by them going outside of their industry. They went to the Olympics in Japan and was watching how their show. They went to watch their show, right? Because the big show's at the end of the night, and they noticed that the athletes from America were trading their flag with the guys from Brazil, and Brazil was trading their flags with Portugal, and everyone was, and they were trading these pins. They go, we should try this. What if we made pins of different characters and started trading them? Well, the first year they made, I think he told me, $7 million or something on pins. Today they're making over $100 million a year just on trading pins. But they looked outside. Hey, where can we see? So many often, especially in the church, we're always looking at other pastors. Right. I'm like, let's look outside. You want to grow. Get outside. What's Disney doing? What's that we can do?
All right. Any final wisdom? Young leaders listening to this today, they're just getting started out going, I want to take that. I want to grow. I want to be all. Any other wisdom you have for them?
Yeah. I think the most powerful wisdom you can get is to find a mentor. Find someone that can pour into your life. It's the difference between where you are and where you want to be. They're going to pour wisdom into you. They're going to, and you can listen to podcasts. I've got mentors I've never met, right? I've just read the books and listened to the podcasts. But when you can get in the room, make your way into the room, serve your way into the room. I've said, hey, look, I'll give you $1,000 if I can just have lunch with you. Yeah. Because I know what I'm going to learn is going to be more valuable than that would ever be. You know,
Right.
so it takes some investment sometimes.
It's really
you
good.
know, to get in the room. Maybe I don't want any money, but they have a foundation or they have something that,
Right.
hey, I'll do this. Most people actually will they want to share. I mean, you want to remember, the best way for me to remember what I learned is to share it with someone else. So I need a mentor, but I also need a protege, right? Because I've got to pour out everything that comes in. That's the best way to remember it. So
I love that.
So I'd find those relationships, a mentor and a protege. Learn, give, learn, and get. Let it just keep flowing through you.
So much wisdom from Dr. Dave Martin. How do people get in touch with you?
DaveMartin.org is the easiest way, through our website, or at Dr. Dave Martin on all the social media
It's awesome.
platforms.
And you got a free book offer.
Yeah, freedavemartinbook.com. That's actually a book that came out earlier this year called Make That, Break That. It's all about how to develop habits
Love that.
in our life. So often we're trying to break bad habits, but there's a scripture. All these principles are in the Bible. It's amazing.
crazy.
Romans, how do you overcome evil? You overcome evil with good.
Right.
How do you get rid of a bad habit? Create a new and better habit to overcome the old habit. So you just create a better habit. And so I talk about the habit loop and how to develop habits. So all that's on there as well.
Sweet. Well, we honor you. We thank you for taking some time to pour into these leaders. Let us know if you learned something today. Make sure you share it with us. Hit me up on Instagram. We are coming to new content every single month. First Wednesday of every month. Made for More. If you haven't hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit it. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe right there on Spotify and follow us. We love you guys. Have a great month. We'll see you next month.